So show of hands, how many of you out there know who the band Vreid is? Well, I do, obviously, because I'm doing a review of it. Now, let's try this again. Second time around, though, how many of you guys have heard of the band Windir? Well, here's the surprising thing. If you've heard of Windir, well, you've heard of Vreid. Why? Because, well, Vreid is essentially Windir, only without Valfar, who, of course, passed away. May he rest in peace. In the early 2000s, while walking home. Yeah, it's kind of cold over in Scandinavia, so, well, we're not going to get into that. May he rest in peace. Now, a lot of you probably know very little about this band, mainly from the reaction that I got whenever I introduced this album in my blog TV. Now, if you don't know about my blog TVs, why don't you know about my blog TVs? You should probably be coming. But anyways, their new album was released here just about a week or so ago. It is entitled V, or 5, for those of you who missed that class in grade school where they revealed this magical mystery to you that at one point, in Roman times, letters actually meant numbers. It's crazy. Vreid in English, however, means wrath. And wrath is definitely something that you could definitely incorporate with this particular band. Their music essentially is supposed to be a continuation of the work that was going on in Windir and Alkus, which is another band that one of the members is a part of. And it's sort of added in a little bit of other elements as well. There was a little bit more of the ambience and the folky style of Windir, but then there's also what I would consider kind of like a death and roll or a kind of rock and metal side to it as well that you hear in bands such as Sepultura, Motorhead, and Metallica. This is something that the band themselves have kind of described their music as, and it's pretty accurate. There's a little bit more of a raw black metal sound to it, but there definitely exhibits those other two facets as well. And it's exhibited once again on this particular record here on 5, or V, whichever you would like to call it. That's really up to you at this particular point. Now, this particular album of theirs here in 2011 is a total of 9 tracks long and clocks in at 49 minutes long, and it's been getting a lot of raving reviews. If you do not follow Vreid on Facebook or go to their website or anything like that, you might not know about this, but there have been a lot of people that have been ranting and raving about this particular album, saying that it is very good. So whenever you take a listen to it, you start to realize that a lot of these people are not talking out of their ass. This is a very, very good combination of all of the elements that I mentioned in the introduction. There's definitely a very raw black metal sound that is a little bit more crisply polished than the raw that you may think about whenever you think of the words raw black metal. However, the polished sound definitely is not something where it's so overproduced that it does not retain any of the core elements of a black metal disc. You can definitely hear some spots of Windir every so often whenever you hear any ambient or folky elements, such as in track number 1, and you can even hear it a little bit later on in the epic track, which is entitled The Others and the Look. However, the one element that I think is exhibited the most on this particular album is the third element, where you kind of see that a little bit more like Motorhead / Metallica / Sepultura approach mixed in with the raw black metal. There's definitely a lot of that combination. And the best example that I can give you guys is in track number 2, which is entitled Blood Eagle. And this is a very, very catchy song. It has an exceptional hook. The guitars are very well done, very well layered. This is just one of those songs that really remains in your head and you want to listen to it multiple times. And that's actually the song that I'm going to recommend that you guys check out first on this particular record. The second one is actually going to be track number 1, which is entitled R.I.P, or I probably mispronounced it, but I really don't care. Now, The Others and the Look I mentioned is the epic track. Most of the tracks here on this particular album will clock in anywhere between 4 and 6 to 7 minutes, whereas The Others and the Look is a massive 10-minute and 16-second long song that really blends the elements of ambience and the elements of Windir a lot more with the black metal than other tracks really exhibit. This is a song that maybe the first time that you listen to it, you may not exactly think it's going to many different places. However, upon repeated listens, you start to realize that this is a track that has a lot of different layers to it. It's a very vast, a very dynamic song, and something that definitely really deserves your attention. Now, the only complaint that I have about this particular record is that it seems that the first, 6 of the 9 tracks, so we're going to say the first half and a half, So first 3/4 of this album seem very, very strong, whereas the last third of the last fourth of the album, should I say, the last quarter of it, does not seem to be kind of as memorable. I remember a lot about the song Slave, which directly follows the others in the look. However, after that, it's something where it kind of dies off a little bit. So this is an album where, in spite of it getting some very rave reviews, which are very well deserved, I really think that the first half of this album is definitely the stronger point than the latter 3 songs. However, that's just my personal opinion. I would say that overall, this is an album that's well deserving of a coverkillernation 8 out of 10, so that's exactly what it's going to get. So, now you have 2 homework assignments. First off, you need to listen to this album, because it's damn good. And secondly, whenever I have a blog TV and I have an announcement, fucking be there. Later.